Welcome back to On Two with Ian Dre. Glad to have you with us. Dre and I have just been talking about some politics, which I think we may end up getting into some of that in the future. Why are you laughing?
The interesting conversation.
Interesting conversation. But that aside, what's up, Dre?
Chilling, man. How you feeling?
Feeling all right, man. Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Yeah, you had a good week.
I had a good week. I started saying fantastic because it can change your attitude.
Mm-hmm.
My week was challenging in the beginning,
Yep.
but your attitude is your attitude. It's something that you have control over.
Yep.
So I just started saying, you know what, no matter what, if it's messed up, I'm gonna be like, you know what, somebody asked me, it's fantastic. Because everybody's used to saying, or at least responding, saying, it's all right, it's all good.
Yeah.
Nobody says, my week was fantastic.
No.
Right?
Yeah, they definitely gonna say that.
Right? But even when you say it, so when you say, my week was fantastic, you have to at least start feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
Even after that, for that 2 seconds,
Yep.
3 seconds, and that helps to me. Like it helps change your attitude.
Yep.
So this past week I started responding to people by saying, "I'm fantastic."
Oh, fantastic.
So I would challenge you next time somebody asks you how you're doing. Respond, say I'm fantastic.
Mm.
And then number one, check their response.
Yeah. Check their
facial
language.
response.
Yeah.
Right. Check their
body
facial
language.
Right. And then check in on yourself to see how you feel. Right. See how much better that makes you feel.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I've been working on telling people I've been feeling fantastic. So, but I'm in transition, and I'll shed a little more light on that in the future episodes as things progress. But since we're talking about feelings, I think it's a great opportunity for us to just check back in with you and segue back into the meditation segment where you shared with us that you were experimenting with transcendental meditation.
Sir.
TM for short.
TM for short.
So give us an update where you are with that, man.
2 weeks in? Almost 3 weeks in now?
And so just remind us, the first time you went, take us through that experience.
First time I went was almost 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was like on a Saturday. And that was the first session. And that was where I kind of got like the basics of how to start doing the actual practice. And then I had 3 more follow-up sessions. It was like a group. So the first one was by myself. The next 3 were with the group with other people who went through the same process. Mm-hmm. And we meditated together and learned more about the different rhythms and things that you're going through as you start doing the practice and things you're going to be feeling, so you kind of know how to take on the experiences, because it's a difference, and it's kind of like a tune up to make sure that you stay with the practice so that you don't get out of it. Yeah. So
you're in the practice of building a habit.
Correct.
Positive habit.
Correct. And it's different, and it's the way they're teaching you is a lot different from what you're used to from meditation. So
if you're used to anything,
so like things that you end up going through, like for me, because of my concussions that I've had playing football and stuff like that, the meditation would like start making me feel a little drowsy in my head, and she was like, they were telling me like that's the brain and the body repairing that scar tissue and all that stuff going on in your head. So I'd have to like lay down for like 10 to 15 minutes after meditating, but my body felt like completely different, and I'd be clearer thoughts. I have like more drive. I feel the difference.
Okay.
And I'm definitely more like alert and more like focused mentally because of it.
Okay. So, but you aren't only just working on the mental. You're actually doing a comprehensive, I would say, self-serving wellness exercise where you're going to the gym.
Yep.
You're working on the mental piece with the transcendental meditation.
Yep. And
you're also eating right.
For the most part.
Yeah, I mean, you're making an effort to be cognizant of what you're putting in your body.
Yeah, I'm more consistent than I've been in a long time.
Yeah, and so I think all of that in concert also I think is probably helping with that as well.
Yeah, it's a good
You know
feeling.
what I'm saying?
Might be on pace for a nice little summer thing. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, it'll be all right for the summer.
That's right. Well, Punxsutawney Phil said spring is coming early, so
I don't know.
better get.
Yeah, I
get
think he
whipped
might
in
be
shape.
right. Yeah,
Get in shape.
yeah, quick.
All right. So glad to hear that. And you said you're working on a couple more sessions. You've been back since the first time.
Yep, and then I gotta go back tomorrow and like do a check-in, see how everything is going.
Yeah.
But I think I've done it every day. I'm supposed to do it twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
I've only missed it twice a day like 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I was waiting to hear when you're taking your session. That's the next part. When you getting that work in.
Yeah, it's on my list. I haven't forgot about it. It's on my list. It's definitely on my list.
That already sounds like a cop out.
Nah, it's not a cop. I mean, but you just gave me the material
Don't even do that.
5 minutes ago.
Fam, I sent you the whole link for it a week ago.
You gotta follow up. Been busy. So I've been busy.
That's the ill line. I've been busy.
So how many times does I'm busy get in the way of greatness?
Yeah, a lot. A lot.
You know what I'm saying? So that's funny. That was just knee jerk.
Mm-hmm.
I've been busy.
Mm-hmm.
I said it in jest, but
I know that's
it's still funny.
it is funny.
So we had a conversation about entrepreneurship and just staying in line with that,
Mm-hmm.
and the elements of being successful.
Mm-hmm.
You I guess over the past year, maybe took up public speaking and Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about you. Are you still?
I'm still.
You still doing Toastmasters? So tell us about what motivated you to even engage in the Toastmasters organization and why you thought that was going to be helpful for you.
So, started doing Toastmasters. That was
And tell us what Toastmasters is.
Toastmasters is a public speaking group that they teach you how to be a public presenter. Basically, learning the skills of presenting in a crowd, presenting to an audience, doing presentations, and just getting comfortable with how to work a room, how to keep eye engagement, your pace and things like that, so that people like Tony Robbins or Les Brown or those kind of people are considered Toastmasters. Now, I don't know if they're specifically going through the actual programming, but it's the same thing at that kind of that lane.
And the origins of the name come from the actual act of doing a toast,
yeah.
making a toast.
Making the toast.
Because I often forget why the hell it's called Toastmasters, and I realize, to make a good toast is to be a great public speaker.
You have to be.
So public speaking, or at least I don't know if this is still true, but they used to claim that people would rather burn than to speak publicly.
Correct.
Is that true? Are they still using that narrative to?
Something close to it. Yeah, that's real close.
What are they sharing now?
Is people like almost close to death like this?
Yeah, they'd rather
do
a lot of
other things
than to speak in a public setting,
or just get them in front of a group of people and speak.
Yeah,
like it's not even a public setting; it's a group of people, 5 or 6 people, and having to talk out loud.
Yeah,
people clam up.
Yeah.
So I knew for me where I wanted to go in my career, my skills, that'd be something I had to get over, because I noticed I can do it, but you have to be fine-tuned at it. And I know, so Obama was actually a Toastmaster. Like, he actually went through the program and did it. And you just know that gives you a level of confidence when you are able to talk.
So is there a certificate that you get afterwards?
It's like a course. Yeah,
it is a course. I thought it was, so in my ignorance, I thought it was just like a club that you joined for professional development. I didn't think that there was a certificate at the end.
It's like a course that you have to actually, so you get in, you have to do what's called icebreaker, and you create your own speech, and it's like a 2 to 5 minute speech, which I've done that. I did that last year, and then you have to like continue to give speeches, get critiqued, and then it's a process basically, and you just hit levels, and it's almost like it's basically like a debate team kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But you're doing it for learning how to present well. And I mean, there's some pretty good people that are in there. Like, there's a different level of confidence you can see with them because they know they can handle their own.
Yeah. So did they talk about the elements of a great public speaker?
Yeah, they do. It's just each one's different, I guess, because depending on who you know, because each meeting, not everybody's always there. The main guys are there, and main girls, I should say, are there, and they give you good tips and tricks on how to work the room, how to be present in the room, how not to, how to hold your hands and not talk with your hands too much, and what to do when to stop doing the ums and those kind of things and habits. Like that's the skill that is hard as hell.
Yeah. So why do you think so many people fear speaking publicly?
That's a good question. Because sometimes you feel you sound stupid. And then
so the fear of sounding stupid.
Yep, and then it's the fear of being on stage. Like everybody's looking at you. You're the center of attention. So everybody waiting for you to say something, and you got to be able to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And get whatever it is that you got to get out. And I think that's tough as fuck.
Yeah. And to exude passion and an understanding of the subject matter
and be able to articulate it. Because you have to be able to
vocabulary, right? So a lot of people fear that they don't have the vocabulary to really articulate what they're feeling and what they would like to say,
or being able to write it down. Because you got to write a speech. You're writing a speech, and then you have to perform it. Excuse me. So it's the same thing. So you have to be able to create a thought, create a system, and a guideline to keep you on track and to keep people engaged, but at the same time getting a very clear, poignant thought across.
Yeah, and that's a big part of entrepreneurship, right? If you're starting your own business, you have to present your business
You gotta be able to sell
to everybody, every day, at any time.
Elevator speeches.
And so I remember like everybody else, I wasn't confident speaking publicly because, for one, my natural personality is that of an introvert. So me being in the spotlight, it doesn't even agree with my natural sense of self. But in order to excel in this world, in the world of business, you do have to speak publicly eventually.
Yeah.
Or you will reach a ceiling.
Yes.
And your earning potential will plateau.
Correct.
So, like everything else, I'm a visual learner. And so when I really wanted to focus and talk to myself about being better, getting better at public speaking, first thing I did was, you listen to speeches, the best, you listen to the MLKs, you start thinking about the cadence, the climaxes and the plateaus, and all of those things go into making a great speaker. And then the first thing I think also is the passion about the subject matter that you're speaking about, because that comes through if you are passionate about whatever it is that you're speaking about. So, kind of take us through your first speech or presentation at Toastmasters.
So my first presentation might have been last September, maybe? September, October? That was basically like a 3 to 5 minute, what they call icebreaker, just intro to me. Like who I am, a little bit about me, a little bit about my background, and, like fun facts. Yeah. But
did you spend time with any of the people in the room before you got up on stage? So you were coming in cold. You hadn't networked at all with anyone.
Nothing.
Not even the time. Not even the session before.
Nothing.
Nope. First of all, why? Why are you a stranger?
I'm not
once but twice in a room that you're gonna be presenting to.
Not a stranger. I've networked. I shouldn't say that. I've networked with people in the group. Yes. But it was, I got there late because I had late from an appointment, and
here we go. Talk about late.
I got there late.
Come on, man.
I wasn't me. Late, bro. I was working. I was busy.
Oh, you was busy.
I was busy.
Okay.
So
all right.
I got there late, and I got there like maybe 5 minutes before they had to do the speeches, and I was on the program to speak. And I was like, man, maybe we could just, push this off a little bit. We don't gotta do it right now. We ain't gotta do it. Like, yo, I'll come to the next one. Yeah. I'll be on time. Yeah. We'll be good. Work was pushing a little bit today, and it was a crazy day, and they kind of looked at me like, nah, you got it, fam.
Yeah, because they hear that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, nah, we're gonna do this.
They hear that all the time.
And I was like, oh, come on. Like, and I wrote the speech and everything. And like you said, when it's something you're passionate about, you're able to speak on it and not have to look down all the time, because that's the other big thing. You want to be able to know your speech and know your material so that you can actually be present in the room. And I got up there, and I swear to you, it felt like there was like 1 million people in there. And it was probably like only 13. But it was like,
yeah, like,
oh, okay, like, breathe.
Were you prepared? What was your, do you remember? Now, this was supposed to be about you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
but had you gone through the framework of how you were going to deliver the presentation?
No.
Okay. So, it's safe to say that's probably part of the nervousness?
No, because I like writing, so writing is not something like, if I write and it's something that I'm passionate about, it sticks in my brain really easy. So for me, that wasn't a thing. It was more, when I get nervous, I talk fast.
Yeah.
And that was like more of paying attention to that, like my cues of, okay, don't speak too fast, don't use your hands too much, make sure to look certain people in the eye, that you're engaging with different sides of the room, pausing, and those are things that I've already had to practice in my career as a realtor, because you have that conversation which are based on scripts. So there's, like you said, inflection of the voice, the climax, your pauses, your breaks when you want to make your point clear. Those things are things that I was already practicing just in my everyday world. So it wasn't hard for me to do that part. It was just more of standing up and having everybody turn and look at me and go, talk. And the room gets quiet. It's just you. And you're like, oh, great.
Yeah. Do you have a style?
Do I have a style?
Yeah.
I don't think I have a style. But I don't, it's what somebody else hears, I guess.
Yeah.
It's different on the other side. Me, I don't think I have a style, but it worked.
It worked?
It worked.
What does that mean? It sounds like you're trying to put something over. You got one over on the people.
Nah, I didn't get one over
it worked.
Nah, it worked.
You got one over on the people. It worked.
No, it was me being me. It was just, I didn't have a specific style, but me being able to just articulate and, like I said, just be myself. What I thought was kind of like, oh, this may go left.
Yeah.
And I think our brains, especially when in an uncomfortable position, you automatically go to the negative, like, man, they're going to think this sucked, it was too short, I didn't look at everybody, I said too many ums or too many pauses or things like that. So you kind of go, damn, this ain't going to go well. Like, we got a long way from here to go up. Yeah. Like, there's going to be a lot of steps on the rungs. Yeah. And that wasn't true. And it was kind of like the relief of, okay. Yeah. Like, there's something here.
It's never as bad as the mind makes it.
No, never as bad as it is.
Believe.
And sometimes I think we underestimate our own gifts.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that as something being a natural style for me. And I remember I had a coach told me, like, yo, you can do public speaking, and you just got to practice at it. And I was kind of like, not getting up on no stage doing that. You crazy? Because, like, my natural style is to chill. Like, I'm not... I can do it if I need to, but if you ask me, I'm going to be over here inside. Like, relax. I don't need to be on the front street all the time. But if we got to score, we got to score. And I'll do it. Right. So that was one of those, like, take a deep breath. It's like playing football. Like, all right, got to do it.
What was the experience like for everyone else? How many other people
were in the room?
Well, how many other people presented that day?
The only 2 presenters that day.
You and one other person?
Yep.
The other person was male or female?
Female.
How did she do?
Amazing.
Was this her first class as well?
No.
She had been in for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was much more polished and seasoned than I was.
Okay.
I wasn't upset about that. I mean, you just
Well, I mean, not necessarily upset, but I was gonna ask you more questions about her. But since you didn't know anybody in the room,
not new.
you didn't network with anybody.
I
You didn't
networked
take
with
the
them.
time to
I
meet some
networked.
new
Yeah,
people.
I did.
All right. Well, what was her
I got a
background?
mentor. This woman, she works for a local university,
Okay.
and she had been doing Toastmasters in a different state.
Okay.
So she was kind of just doing transitioning over here,
Mm-hmm.
and she's already had public speaking experience, and then having presentation experience within her job role. So
Okay.
she was just fine tuning her skills.
Yeah. Something that you always work at.
Something she always work at. So that was just a perfect platform and venue for her to keep crafting.
Yeah.
But me, I'm just getting into the craft. So
Just honing your gifts.
yeah.
Honing your gifts.
Yeah.
What's the largest audience do you think you've
That I
spoke-
talked to?
Yeah.
I don't know. Recently, I would probably say I did a buyer seminar in Bridgeport, and that was maybe 12 to 15 people.
And you were featured.
Yeah,
Okay.
like last minute joints.
So what's a buyer seminar?
So group of vendors get together. So it's me, my mortgage person that I have a relationship with. Sometimes it'll be somebody from a bank, somebody from like a home inspection company, other people, other tradesmen.
Yeah.
And you create an event around first-time home buyers wanting to come in and find out basically the process and just what to expect for, what to do, and kind of take the fear out of the experience and doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what a home buyer seminar is.
So that's when you share with couples that
No, we don't talk about that now.
you need to make sure that you figure out how much you can pay for versus finding the house that you like first.
Nah, you
don't go through that.
Nah, for me, I don't tell them that part. I tell them like, yo, like I told a couple and I said, listen, y'all don't know it now, but y'all not on the same page, so figure it out now, cause you gonna want this and she gonna want that, and she gonna win, but y'all gotta be on the same page.
And his response was what?
He kind of looked at me like,
He knew it. He knew it.
yeah, he did.
You ain't spreading no news.
Yeah,
you ain't breaking news.
but he wanted to be like, nah, I got this. I was like, damn, nah, you don't.
All right,
Nah, you don't. And that was, but it was cool because I already started practicing doing the Toastmaster stuff. It came out very jokingly, so it didn't rub anybody the wrong way. But it was fun because it got the engagement and it got them to want to, talk. And, because when you're in those kind of environments, people are standoffish to you. Because most people think my career is similar to a car salesman. And you got to break that down. Like, I'm not a car salesman, dude. Like, I'm just here to give you information and give you help you get the best result possible for what your situation is.
Yeah.
And then you got to relate to them. A lot of times people don't have that connection. And, you tell them, like, this is my story. It's kind of what I've been through. This is how I set my business up. And this is how I, help people get to theirs. And you're the empowered one.
Right.
Like,
yeah, because you're representing their interest.
correct. Most people don't think that you are.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because most people think you're just trying to either sell them a house to get paid, or you sell them a house because you work for the seller. And it's like, nah.
Even on the tenant rep side?
All of it.
Or the buyer side?
Anything where somebody's walking up to somebody else, they think you don't have my best interest at hand.
Well, I guess that's a good way to, especially in America.
Yeah. So you have
That
to
makes sense.
you have to disarm them. Just be like, listen, my job is to help you. Like, and I tell everybody. I tell more people not to buy houses than to buy a house.
Yeah.
And that's when people kind of get like,
Builds confidence.
yeah, it builds confidence in you, but it's it's actually true. And I can say, hey, here are these clients that I work with, and I've told them, we're not buying the house because even though you may like it, 3 years down the road, it's gonna hurt you. And that's where people gain that loyalty to you. And I've been fortunate to have very loyal customers, clients I call them.
Yeah. All right. So, just going back to the public speaking piece, man, that's so critical. Did you ever take any classes, even in high school, public speaking?
Fun fact, I used to like doing plays. I used to always be in plays.
Okay.
When I was in like elementary school.
Okay.
Like something about acting, I was always either lead role or somewhere in the main in the main role. So I wasn't, as a young kid, I wasn't averse to doing it. Somewhere in that like preteen to teenager, it's like, yeah, nope, not doing this. And then
But why?
I don't know.
You just fell out of love with acting?
Not acting. I think I had some life traumas happen, and you kind of just curl up and just introvert.
Okay.
I think that's kind of what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I went out of high school. I went to a prep school, post-grad school, and I had a coach who was a Black history teacher too, and he had a public speaking course, and he made me like, he pushed me like, yo, you gonna do this. No, I think his name was Mr. Hale. I'm pretty sure it's Mr. Hale. And he said, you're gonna do this public speaking course, and that's when I kind of got back into it, like just talking out loud again.
And how many people were in that class?
2.
2. Jeez. It's amazing they kept that class.
Yeah, for real. That's why I think I got pushed into it.
So you and one other person. All right.
But it was a good experience though, because up to that point I had turned that side of me off.
Yeah. And what do you remember what the other person's personality profile was? Were they?
I don't remember the person in the class.
You were just locked in. You were just kind of tunnel vision. Okay.
Yeah, tunnel vision.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So you liked acting at one point, and you enjoy writing. When did you kind of discover that you were good at writing and you enjoyed doing it? How young were you?
Probably in high school. I don't know, for some reason I was able to just articulate my thoughts. And I was probably sloppy at it, but...
What do you mean sloppy? Penmanship?
No, just like structure.
Mm-hmm.
Like run-on sentences and like just...
You were writing...
Verbal diarrhea.
As you were thinking.
Yeah. Definitely one of those. And then I went to... during college, I did a writing class. And I remember just being able to take a thought and just write. And the teacher was like, yo, you can really write. But I just was like, yeah, that's me just getting things out of my brain.
Yeah. So what type of writing? You talking about poems? You talking about creative?
Just creative writing.
Okay.
You know, you want to write about the election and give me take a position on an idea or something like that, and I can write. I just have thoughts. I can just get them out.
Yeah. You think you'll get around to writing a book, publishing?
Yo, you know what's funny? I met somebody who wrote their own book, self-published,
Yeah.
and it kind of like sparked that interest back in me, and I was like, maybe. I don't know.
What would hold you back from pursuing that?
Kind of doing this kind of thing, like putting yourself out there, like just.
Because you think that you in order for you to write, or what you think you would want to write,
You gotta have a compelling story, something that people want to, gravitate towards.
Okay.
And I think that's something we all take for granted. Of like, some people may want to hear what you have to say, some people don't.
Mm-hmm. But you think, because I'm assuming that you thought about this. I'm just going to jump out the window.
Jump out the window?
And assume that you thought about this. So, you think if you were to focus on publishing a book, the content would be centered around you as a person first, or
I would definitely not try to do that.
No.
I wouldn't try to make no book about me first.
Okay.
No. I'm not a vain person, so for me that feels very, self-centered.
No, I don't think it's self-centered. I think if you're creating something and you're sharing an experience, it could be inspiring.
Well, I think if I had to put it out there, I would probably say I'd probably create a story off of my reality from a different, like
a novel?
Like a novel, like a nice little, short story or something like that, like an experience or something like that, where like a loose fictional, where it's not, it's a character, but it's not me, but it's me kind of deal.
So you would want to, an independent film.
Independent.
I know people in show business, dog. I know people in showbiz.
You got people on here.
Yeah, bruh. Trying to do a short film.
Listen, I'm open to anything at this point. You know, my thing for these last couple of years is be open to everything and step into it. Either you can be good at it or you're not gonna be good at it. And then some things you may have to work at, some things you realize like, yo, it's just that ain't you.
You have to work at most things, period.
Well, some things you have to work at everything, but some things be a little easier for you to get in and, you know, want to do the work. Some things like, you know, if you told me to be an accountant, I'm like, I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah.
I'm not happening. But the other things that, you know, I want to go through the process because it's fun. Like,
it's funny you say accountant because I mean, I'm surprised that you aren't drawn to the industry.
Completely opposite of an accountant.
It's crazy, man.
I don't have a personality for it. I'm one of those people at work that
you definitely have to have a personality for accounting.
You start talking to me at work, I'm gonna start talking back to you. Like, accountants are not.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sitting there off like, yo, leave me alone. I have to get this done by this deadline. Me, I'm like, yo, did you catch the game?
Right.
You watch Super Bowl? J-Lo looked great.
Yo, have you heard people talking about this halftime show?
Of course I have.
What have they said? What have they shared with you?
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
You know, depending on your demographic and your background, you have a thought, and depending on your other demographic and background, you have another thought.
I didn't think it was gonna be such a big thing. And then
I'm never surprised by people these days.
Yeah.
So for me, it was one of those, here we go again. But it was let's just call it is what it is. Stop trying to hide behind stuff.
Which is?
Whether it be race, whether it be you just don't connect or you don't respect or care about the culture, just fucking say it. Like, It's okay. Like, I don't give a shit about the Dixie Chicks or Hootie and the Blowfish, but if they perform, I'm not gonna disrespect them. Like, it's not for me.
Right.
And it's okay for something not to be for you without having to disrespect the people that it's geared towards. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I have an issue with, you know, the commentary about the Super Bowl. You know, Adam Levine was able to walk around with his shirt off, and women lost their damn minds last year, and how hot he was, and all that other kind of stuff. And then,
did he do the halftime show last year?
Yeah,
it's unmemorable.
That's my point. But it wasn't for us.
Right.
That's my point. It wasn't for us. It wasn't something that was in your wheelhouse and you paid attention to.
Right.
But for the demographic that appealed to it, it was amazing. And then this year, you know, what I thought was great was you see two, what would be considered 40, you know, middle-aged women out there killing it and looking amazing while doing it.
Yeah.
And
J-Lo 50 out here.
that's what I'm saying.
50.
And looking like doing better than most 20-year-olds. So you would figure like that kind of that would be more received well, better than it was. And you start looking out, you know, there's certain social paradigms will just be what they are. People don't realize that they've been conditioned. That's all.
People aren't as cool as they think they are.
That's true too.
They're not exposed, and it shows in instances like that where it was. I honestly didn't think it was gonna be a thing Monday morning.
I didn't think it was gonna be a thing after the whole thing happened.
Yeah,
like it was instant. Like that wasn't even like a let's wait a couple hours.
Yeah,
that was as soon as it ended.
Mm-hmm.
I always check the temperature. Like, okay, let's see what this was, because I thought it was like, all right, nothing to write home about. Like they did, like it wasn't.
It seemed apropos.
It was safe. It was safe.
The Super Bowl was in Miami, and Miami is the gateway to Latin America.
Completely.
So you have J-Lo, who has been a superstar in pop culture for years, and then you have Shakira, who was representing
superstar in pop culture for years too.
Worldwide, and that makes the connection between Colombia and Florida. It all made sense to me.
Perfect sense.
But people were just
harsh.
People.
The pastor that said he was suing the NFL for $867 million was
pastor.
You didn't see that?
No.
Fam.
I didn't see that.
I'm going to pull up my phone for you. Like, this legit Christian pastor who said that Super Bowl gave him some kind of like whatever that he's suing
Mhm.
for $867 million
Only in
because of
America.
the crotch grabbing and like I was like, dude, you
And the
like-
gyrating.
yeah, I was like, are you serious right now? Like the cheerleaders are just as bad. Like,
Yeah.
like come on.
Well, yeah, and that's part of the problem that I have with just the criticism.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not gonna go there because there's a religious aspect to it, and it just
Whatever.
it's counterintuitive to just human nature, but
So whatever.
it is what it is.
That-
What it is.
Just a whatever.
Yeah.
Shout out to J-Lo and Shakira.
I enjoyed it. Okay.
Macy's is closing their stores. It's a big thing right now.
Okay. So Macy's is closing.
I think it's like 125,000 stores, something like 100.
So is the whole the franchise going down? Because obviously big box stores have, in this
They're
retail
crushed.
Armageddon, big box is struggling right now.
Mhm.
That's just a structural shift that we're going through.
I was pissed I had to go to Best Buy today for something to order for Amazon that I didn't get fucking receive.
You were pissed.
Pissed.
Yeah, I did go to Amazon, Best Buy.
And I realized the inventory in Best Buy sucks
eh.
because you only have that many things.
I feel like half the store is TVs right now.
Yeah.
At Best Buy.
But just the fact that I have to only have this section of the one thing I'm looking for when I went on Amazon. There was a million things, and it was one day. I got it in one day.
Mhm.
But I think somebody, porch robbed me.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's no good.
But back to the theory of the big boxes, there, it's not a fun experience to go to the mall for me. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, the mall's kind of played. I mean, it's not really what's where it's at right now.
But I feel bad because those are jobs lost.
Yeah, so I mean, it begs the question: how are people transitioning into a next generation economy? How are they preparing themselves?
They're not. We're behind, man. Everything's
What do you
going
mean,
digital. We as a people are just behind.
Because this is
Technology's moving faster than, the market skills can.
yeah. So, question is, so what does Macy's or what does the mall operator do with that Macy's
That's what
space?
I was thinking about because in my mall, Sears is gone and now Macy's is gone.
Mhm.
Those are two cornerstone leases
Mhm.
that you basically build a mall off of.
Mhm. The anchor tenants.
Yeah, the anchor tenants.
Right.
And the anchor tenants are having a national problem. So, what do you do?
Yeah. So there's been a couple theories around who would be suitable tenants to occupy those type of spaces, those gray fields, so to speak. It's not a gray field yet, but and one of them that probably would be okay, and this was more or less talking about how to repurpose malls that have been kind of just going down all over the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
because they've just been struggling with the emergence of e-commerce and online shopping. So one opportunity that people are playing with is to just go straight to health services and say, well, they have the space to do outpatient treatment in these big box anchor spaces.
Outpatient treatment.
Mm-hmm. Because so you have to think about the space that Macy's and these anchor tenants have
Mm-hmm.
in these malls. It's fairly one
Very
of the largest spaces of the mall, right?
Mhm.
They represent a significant amount of square footage.
Correct.
And so, if you're thinking about putting a place where you're trying to get people back on their feet and get them back into standard operating shape, from the hospital or the outpatient clinics or the urgent care. You take them there, create rooms. Now you have an indoor area that can allow people to walk through a mall, up and down stairs.
That's wild.
I mean, that's one of the ideas that I've heard that people are thinking about
I've heard making them to apartments.
as it pertains to. Yeah, well, they'd have to just knock down the whole mall for that.
No, I saw there was a rendering somebody did of a mall down by the shoreline.
Yeah.
And repurpose it, kind of like left the storefronts there, making it.
Yeah, I mean, so building on top.
No, just renovating. Because most places have a bathroom in there. Most stores have a bathroom. Most of them.
Yeah.
It's just the shower part, maybe, if anything.
I mean, it's hard because the exterior isn't conducive to multi-family living, residential living. That's the challenge with that, which is why even like that's why the healthcare aspect of it is
safer.
Is more conducive because you kind of come in, have people do physical therapy maybe, and then you have this large indoor area that you have access to. But again, this is just people
ideas.
just thinking about ways to repurpose these malls.
Might to the point where you can't. I mean, the problem that you're having is Apple and Amazon have changed the game. Everybody's very slow adapting. I think what may end up having is strip malls being more important again, like local strip malls, because you can get your necessary needs. Because you're still gonna need some kind of aspect of the mall.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna need those kind of spaces anymore.
So it'll be like the local necessities that that you could probably.
So I think your local strip centers, like your little strip malls and stuff like that. I think those will come back if they repurposed.
Even those, man, I'm seeing more of those be converted into the mixed use developments, right? With the residential and commercial component.
You gotta do something.
Yeah.
But
usually they tear those things down in order to recreate that. But then what comes with that is higher rents in order to underwrite the bill. And so the companies that may have occupied the space prior won't be able to afford the rent in the new space. So
it's a weird world we're about to get into. But I mean, we're here.
It's always been that,
But I think people didn't realize how quickly it would change.
I don't think, Well, I don't think, so, right, so things have not changed this fast, this drastically in a long time, or ever. But the challenge, what's different about this time is that it isn't discriminating.
No.
So that's why people, when I say people who historically have not been disenfranchised are screaming bloody murder and running like their hair is on fire. Is because when the environment and the economy has changed in the past,
they were able to change. They were able to dictate terms.
Right. They were able to dictate terms, write the rules, and then have no skills and just be able to ride that wave for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Right. Now, in this information age, and the merit is actually justifying your earnings.
Correct.
Period. Like whatever you can earn, that's what you're gonna get.
And you can go direct to consumer now.
Right.
Where there had to be a middleman for the last 100 years. The big box store was the middleman. Suppliers and manufacturers can go direct to consumer. And now they figured out the logistics part of it, makes it even easier.
Yeah.
So it's hard for people, hard for businesses, what I've noticed is hard for them to adjust and be lean and able to maneuver with what's happening in real time. Because like we talked about before, that 2-day shipping for Amazon, game changer. Everybody's had to follow the leader. You know, Walmart was the first follow the leader with the superstores. Remember, they condensed everything and made superstores.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big, like, okay. Then it came into Amazon 2-day shipping, and then I think people underestimated people wanting to get stuff online to that degree, because you could buy anything online. And then that happened, and then I think now you're seeing, now there's more genius stores, where Apple's like, we don't have to have a store everywhere. We just have to have one store and maximize that retail space. And that genius store has killed.
But they created that one thing that everybody wanted.
But that was the point.
They had
though.
a chokehold on like a thing.
But they're also changing the retail game.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, when the Apple Store in any mall is always packed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But there's only one Apple, right? So they're like a lion, a whale in this game.
But we got to give them credit, because what they did was they went narrow and deep. Remember, the story is they had 11 projects, something like that. Steve Jobs cut everything down to one thing, and they perfected one thing, and then they perfected another one thing. They only sell like 4 or 5 products.
So do you think that that's what's lacking with people? Do you think that we focus on too many things?
Absolutely. Because you have to do one thing really well. Just do one thing really well. Like, the first thing that they got right was the Mac.
Yeah.
Then they went to the iPod.
So how do you balance doing one thing really well?
Focus.
When you want to
Focus.
not be pigeonholed.
Focus. Because I think it comes down to, you have to understand your why and what the greater vision is. You know what I mean? Like, if I look at it from what Steve Jobs did, he understood that having this one device can control everything, which you'll be able to dictate the world around it, which is where it spiraled and spidered, you know, because they heard everybody with the iMac, because remember it was Apple, it was iMac Windows, and it was the first, you know, that of its kind, so nobody else really had a leg in that. Then you went to there was MP3 player, then there was iPod. Everybody wanted MP3s, but nobody could really solidify.
Yeah, that MP3 lasted about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
And
but
then the iPod came out and just killed the game.
Crushed everybody.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Then remember, went from iPod, iTunes. They disrupted the music industry. They murdered the music industry. We've changed. Music has been completely different once iTunes came out to support the iPod. Then we had the iPhone. And then we know that was a major disruptor over everything. So they went narrow and they went wide. Like, okay, we could take this one device, but how many other things can we make off of this one device? Pop.
Yeah.
And they got more money in the government. Cash on hand.
Now they do.
I had it for like the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah, but not in the beginning.
I'm saying, but the last 3 years, I mean, but that was just doing one thing really well.
Living Amazon.
But doing one thing very well where it's just so you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think it just comes down to that focus of, okay, like, I'm going to work on my marketing skills. I'm going to work on my presentation skills. It's just, you're so fine-tuned into it. And we talk about that with Kobe. Like, his work ethic, I'm going to stay in the gym. Work on my jump shot. Work on my handle. His focus was being the best basketball player, getting buckets. It was singular focus. And then you get the greatness.
Yeah.
But he didn't try to be movies. He wasn't. His sneakers sold, he wasn't out there pushing them. Like, you know, he was, I handle the basketball. That's what I can control. Yeah. And I think it comes down to that. I mean, it's a great book called The One Thing by Gary Keller that talks about that. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, talk about that.
So One Thing is a book. I work for Keller Williams, which is Gary Keller's company.
Okay.
And he came out with the book like 3 or 4 years ago. And basically the premise is you got to take, it's knocking down one block, think of life like dominoes. all it takes for you to do hit one domino, and it gives you the momentum to knock down your bigger blocks. So you start with one small thing that you really need to get done, and that momentum of getting that thing done consistently and doing it and perfecting it knocks down everything else, from there to lead you to the bigger goals. That's how you achieve big goals, is by doing one thing, usually one small thing that you can build on, and what they call habit stack. And the way he kind of taught it in the book was like, you take 5, like, you do a list for the day, like this is what I gotta get done for the day, but it goes, what's the one thing I can do today that'll set me up for the next couple days that matters the most? Because we always have a list of 12 to 15 things that we must do, but it's really, if you do really one thing, it'll always continue to push your needle forward. And that's being singular focused and getting that, getting to that level. It's just tough as hell to do consistently, because life distracts you.
Well, it's tougher to do by yourself, yeah.
That too.
Yeah, I think it's hard to do anything without a partner to help motivate you. Those times when you don't want to do it, and it's, you're carrying this load by yourself. It's absolutely the hardest road to travel, is by yourself. All right, well, we're nearing the end, man. So takeaways from today's discussion were transcendental meditation is still on and popping. You're still thriving.
You're gonna clear your list to go do your
I
session.
gotta make arrangements to make sure I look into that and schedule my visit. Toastmasters recommendation, is it a necessity of life or growth, or you can do without it?
No, I think people need to do something, a version of it. I would say that, or learn how to sell. Either way.
I would say they're one and the same, right? Or one is...
Well, yes. But at least, some people may not want to be a salesperson. Like, that's fine. But learn how to speak in public.
Man, you're either selling or you're buying out here.
Some people are just buyers.
They're being sold. Some people are selling.
Some people always being, some people always buying, some people always being sold. So,
right. And even yourself, in business or just, in an interview, you're selling yourself. So you should be prepared to speak publicly about that. And so I think the benefit of just taking some type of professional development course,
public speaking,
that entails public speaking, is absolutely imperative.
I think that's something like I told somebody, my kids will have to do regardless.
Yeah.
When I have kids that have to be in public speaking,
no doubt.
And they'll have to do some kind of sales
at home, no doubt.
Yeah,
I want presentations about why you want to go to the Apple store.
Right. Yeah.
I you know what I'm saying?
ASAP, because that confidence in them will allow them to not have those fears.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's definitely something I'm gonna be pushing for.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. So you're gonna be working on a book and a short film.
Damn, I got a book and a short film?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But yeah, man, so yeah, those are the takeaways from today's rap.
Well, you got friends in high places that produce stuff.
I got friends in Tinseltown, man.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying?
So if you writing, you know what I'm saying, I got friends in Tinseltown.
Man, I'm trying to get like you.
But yeah, so that does it for us. Man, you got anything else you want to share with the people?
I think we shared enough today.
All right. We want to know how you feel about public speaking. Want to know your fears, where you've excelled, what's helped you improve. Who else is interested in transcendental meditation for themselves? And we want to hear about the book that y'all are writing for yourselves. Right? Yeah, and anything else that's on your mind. All right? Thanks for kicking it with us. We out.